Well, I guess we have some good news, if you want to call it that. The black box from the Philadelphia plane crash has now been found. And I'm not going to lie, I was getting kind of worried there. I thought that someone maybe found it and snatched it up. I mean, this is Philly that we're talking about. I halfway expected that it would pop up on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. A couple of weeks from now, we hear that someone's arrested for trying to sell the black box at the pawn shop. I thought something like that maybe happened. But what happened was investigators were looking through all of this debris. Now, mind you, some of this debris flew over a quarter mile. So they have a wide area to search. But what happened was they're searching this area, and it turned out that the black box was actually in the crater where the plane crashed. The rest of the plane is in pieces, but the black box was actually buried, I believe they said 8 feet deep in the crater. You're looking at footage of them recovering the black box right now as we speak. And like I said, from what's been reported, it was like 8 feet deep, wedged in this crater. Really crazy stuff. But let's go ahead and find out a few more details about this. I'm going to roll this clip really quickly, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
For some of the latest developments, sources tell Action News the jet's black box recorder was located about 8 feet inside of a crater left by the crash that will expectedly shed some light on what happened in the moments before the tragedy. Tonight, the death toll stands at 7, but the number of those injured has increased from 19 to 22, with 5 still in the hospital. Authorities late this afternoon reopened the inner and outer drives of Roosevelt Boulevard, and schools in the area of the crash will be open. Action News reporters Brianna Smith and Katie Catro are following the aftermath of the crash. We begin with Brianna and the latest in the investigation. Brianna.
Walter, city leaders say it's been 48 hours and hundreds of dedicated workers remain at the scene helping residents, business owners, and collecting evidence. And during their search, they were able to find that black box, which will be a key part of their investigation. The NTSB released this video today as they scoured the crater created by the medical jet on impact in Northeast Philadelphia Friday evening. In that hole, investigators found the black box in decent condition about 8 feet below ground. We also learned more about the 4 crew members who tragically lost their lives. Jet Rescue Air Ambulance identified them as Captain Alon Montoya, co-pilot Josue Juarez, paramedic Rodrigo Padilla, and Dr. Raul Mesa. The patient, 11-year-old Valentina Guzman Murillo, and her mother, Lizeth Murillo Osuna, also passed away.
Our city continues to mourn their loss, and they are in our thoughts and prayers.
The NTSB says Learjet 55 was traveling to Missouri before heading to Mexico when it crashed less than a minute after takeoff, causing a massive explosion. Mayor Sherelle Parker says 1 person in a vehicle also died, and the number of those injured is now 22.
5 of the victims remain hospitalized currently, and 3 of them are in critical condition.
But local leaders say there could be more victims, urging residents to check on their neighbors.
If there's somebody who you think might have been in this area and they're missing and they haven't checked in and you can't reach them or they live there, call 911.
Managing Director Adam Teal says the joint investigation team, consisting of local, state, and federal partners, remain on the ground to assist people and assess the damage. At least 11 residential properties are impacted.
They have a lot of processing yet to do of the scene. In fact, as you heard, we have not yet recovered everything we need to recover from the scene.
But Teal says they're happy with their progress so far, but it could take days or even weeks before they're able to answer specific questions about this tragedy. Live in Northeast Philadelphia, Brianna Smith, Channel 6 Action News. Walter?
Okay, Brianna, thank you. As we've been mentioning, the crash scene stretches for several blocks. That's having a devastating impact on that neighborhood. Several homes were damaged. Several businesses were damaged as well, or even closed during the investigation as it continues, which of course means a loss of revenue and lost wages. Action News reporter Katie Catro joins us live now near the crash scene with more on that. Katie.
Walter, that's right. The impact from the devastation is widespread. In fact, you can see the Roosevelt Mall here behind me remains closed at this hour. Police say 150 people have been on the ground since the incident occurred, assisting families. City officials are doing all they can to assist neighbors and businesses.
When we talk about securing the perimeter, when we talk about traffic to and fro on the boulevard and Cottman Avenue, when we talk about those businesses in the mall that are closed, it's not just those business owners. It's the employees who work there. It's direct impacts and indirect impacts.
As the city prepares for Monday to return to some semblance of normalcy, both inner and outer lanes of Roosevelt Boulevard just reopened. All PECO and PGW service has been returned to the community with the exception of immediately impacted buildings.
This will require some repair. It will require repair to lights, traffic signals, and to the roadway itself.
Today, city officials announced behavior and mental health services are available. If you are experiencing emotional distress, you can call or text 988 or visit the city's behavioral health website. We posted a link to 6abc.com/links. And for updates on recovery efforts, text one word, recover PHL to 888-777.
We have to remember what defines Philadelphia. We are a strong people, a resilient people who clearly understand how and why it's so important that we take care of each other. Prayer for our city.
Now, Mayor Parker says she is working on organizing a town hall for this Wednesday at 7 p.m. The location is to be determined, but it will be a one-stop shop for community members to learn about all the resources that the city has to offer.
I'm glad they found the black box, considering the fact that the plane was only in the air for about a minute. I'm not sure how much they will really find on the black box, but fingers crossed they find something that can prevent something like this from happening again, because plane crashes are bad enough. We can't have these planes falling out of the sky on top of people's homes next to shopping centers, okay? Plane crashes are bad enough in itself. We can't have planes crashing in areas like this. But you heard what they said in the news clip. It could be weeks before we get answers, weeks before they can answer certain questions where, well, I can tell you right now, there aren't going to be any more questions weeks from now. In about a day and a half, the general public will move on from this story. If you don't get answers within like the first 72 hours, people move on. So if we don't got some information by tomorrow, for the most part, people won't even care when they do release the information about this plane crash. That's just the way the world works these days. But you also heard what they said, and this is a point that I made in a prior video, that there could be other victims. And, you know, not every human being on earth has someone that cares about them, that checks up on them every day. There could be other people in this area that were totally wiped out by this plane crash, and we don't know it yet. Maybe their friends, loved ones, family don't even know it yet. So if you got people, if you got family, friends in this area that you ain't heard from, you need to contact them now. Because I can tell you from what I've seen with my own two eyes, and I wish I hadn't seen it, I've seen parts of people that don't match up with the victims that were on the airplane. I've seen parts and portions of people that don't fit the descriptions of the people who were on the airplane. So it is of my belief that there are people who lost their lives in this plane crash that we are unaware of, because there's not much left of them, if anything. So that's the reality of this situation. And over the coming days, maybe even weeks, someone might realize, hey, you know, I ain't heard from this person in a while. I haven't heard from her, or he hasn't texted me in a while. And then we find out, oh, it turns out they were walking down the street and a plane dropped on their head. I mean, I hate to be blunt, but that's what we're dealing with here. And from what I've seen, it's hard to believe that this number is at 7. But hey, maybe we'll never know. Because like I said, I don't think there's much left of these people. And that's why he had to make that statement, that there could be other victims. You need to check on people if you think they're in this area, because I don't even want to have to go into detail. But for now, let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.